Hello friends, welcome foes. My name's Donald Choate, like the duck. And I am not actually, contrary to the current visual, a dog on the internet. I just pretend to be one. Look, I'm here today to tell you that it's okay to be silly. It's okay to be funny. It's okay to be different. It's okay to be weird. It's okay to be yourself. Today's topic is all about transformation, right? Well, I want to tell you that you can transform yourself by just being yourself. That sounds corny and everything, right? But look, I'll get to the point, I promise. I was able to do it. I did it through technology, through VR and interaction in online communities. I'm a very introverted person. This was hard for me to do. Okay, when I first started this technical journey, and it took a little bit of a push from some people who were very important to me. But let me kind of go through the steps, all right? I've distilled everything down into 3 major points. I mean, we'll get to them. But technology has certainly enabled us to communicate and to better ourselves more than any other time in our history. Those 3 points, self-reflection, online communities, and creative expression, let's write them down. Yep, you can do that here in VR. You can do things like that. So let's write them down. I'm just going to abbreviate them. So we have number 1, self-reflection. Number 2, online communities. And number 3, creative exploration. Okay. Number 1, self-reflection. I'm sure you've seen them, and I'm sure you've done them. But out online, there are thousands and thousands of web pages, thousands and thousands of communities that allow us to reflect upon ourselves. Things like journal prompts, those little weird personality quizzes, you know, the ones that are really good at generating ad revenue for the web page and scraping your data to sell to data aggregators. We're not ready for that conversation. Let's just skip over that. But they're still really good at one thing, and that's helping us find ourselves. I know for a fact that most of you in here have taken the quiz or some variation of it that tells you what house you're in that wizard thing, right? I know you have. Okay, I've done it. I know most of you have. Those things tell us stuff about ourselves. It helps us to communicate feelings and personality traits that a lot of us just don't know how to communicate. Helps us identify feelings and worries and positives, our values, our beliefs, all that great stuff. They're not as silly as you think they are. Online communities, okay, that's number 2. Online communities are great. They exist in virtual worlds and in private servers and in the dark web. And we think about certain things like that in the negative. And you know, I'm going to be really neutral in today's discussion, but not everything that has to do with technology is bad. Okay? But these communities exist, and they're out there. And they're built upon various interests and ideas and cultures and peoples. And they're especially great for those of us who may not have a safe community within our local area. These communities provide a support system for people who are struggling. And everybody struggles. Now, some people have it easier than others. Yeah, I'm not going to argue that. I agree completely. But everybody struggles. And those people who are struggling have never not needed a support system. It doesn't matter if you are the richest trillion billionaire or if you are the poorest person in the poorest corner of this planet. You need that support system. And these communities, these online communities, they can provide those systems of support, especially in places where those systems may not exist safely. They allow us to live and interact in judgment-free zones, and that's important, especially for people who need it, the introverts out there who are looking to put themselves out, but they're looking to do it in a safe place. My third point that I've distilled down is creative expression. Look at what we're doing now. Right? Everything that's going on here today during these talks is just a form of creative expression, and technology facilitates that for us. I'm not saying it can't be done without it. It's just the specific tool that I chose to use in my journey of self-discovery. It does not matter if you're an artist, if you like acrylics, oils, mixed media, if you're one of those odd sort of Banksy-style people who slap a urinal on a wall and then make $200,000 off of it, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you're a musician or if you're a writer, poetry, prose, or even if you're a programmer, right? I'm a programmer. I like to develop and build things. It's a way for me to creatively express myself. Yeah, I've seen good code, I've seen bad code. I've seen beautiful algorithms, ugly algorithms, plain algorithms to advanced algorithms. And if you're a programmer in the audience today, I know you agree with me. It's okay. You can come up after the talk and let me know. Don't let someone tell you that your programming's not art. I tell the same thing to my students all the time. But these people, these places, these forms of online communication, they allow for that limitless creative expression. Now, obviously, technology has enabled us to do all of these great things. Okay, obviously. But there's more to it than that. Technology, at its core, is just a tool. It's just a tool. That's it. It's up to the individual behind the technology to use it in a way that is self-fulfilling and that helps their goals. And even further, that helps the goals of those people around them. Okay, we do not live in a vacuum. It's easy for us to forget that there is a human with feelings, with hopes, dreams, doubts, aspirations. It's easy for us to forget that there's a human behind that screen. You know what? Give me just a second. Give me one moment. Let's clear that out. I'll be right back, I promise. Hello there. Not a dog. I know that's a little disappointing. And for the biologists out there, I know that's not a dog. That's a whole different species. Don't come at me. A few years ago, I'm going to tell you a story that I don't really like to speak about, but a few years ago, my dad died of liver cancer. Side note, F cancer. And a few months before he died, he got really, really into technology. We gave him this tablet PC, and he became obsessed with this social media page. He was born and raised in Fenchurch County. I'm sure you all know where that's at, here in Middle Tennessee. Became obsessed with it. It posted stuff like history and old black and white photos and videos, and he would pick through it, and then he would get excited, and he would come up to me and say, I know that person. I know them. I know that family. I know where they live. They're up on the side of the mountain. They made moonshine. Stuff like that. Became super excited, and he discovered himself through it. Discovered he loved history, and he started looking at other stuff, being really creative. Well, that Christmas after he passed was especially difficult. This is one of those do as I say, not as I do moments. I'm very much of a mindset that we shoulder our own burdens. We don't share them amongst others. So nobody really knew how I was feeling. I wasn't comfortable with sharing that. But I have a very close personal friend who, she's really good at picking up on that sort of negative emotion. She purchased for me this little bitty VR headset. See, I didn't actually own anything VR, it was just all stuff from work. She purchased for me this little bitty VR headset. And the first thing I did, and I'm just a 33-year-old kid, right, is I found an app that let me walk with dinosaurs, right? And I was like, there's a big dinosaur! I gotta show this to mom, I gotta show this to my sister, I gotta show this to dad. Can't really do that anymore. And I was in that dark spot. And so like I said, uncomfortable reaching out to other people that I knew. I didn't want to burden other people. So I sought out some online communities, started talking with people in VR, and what we call the metaverse now. And I met some really cool people, right? Really strange people, really cool people. I had a conversation with someone who looked like Peter Griffin while painting in 3D about the downfalls of capitalism. Have you done that before? That's a little bit enlightening. Okay? Just a little bit, though. I've met some of those really cool people, really strange, really colorful people. And through diving into these virtual worlds and learning about how they work and how they interact, it really inspired me and kind of reignited my creative passion. It was pulling me out of that dark spot. Now, I'm going to tell you something that no one else knows. You are the first people that I've ever told this to. My own family doesn't know this. So, hello. I built in VR, I found a little game engine that I was comfortable with. And I reconstructed in VR this hunting lodge that my dad and his brothers built in Fentress County. He was a professional carpenter. He could build all kinds of things. The house I live in is a testament to that. And I built a pretty much one-to-one replica of this little hunting lodge. And I'm not very good at modeling people, right? That's just, my sculpting skills aren't there yet, they're still not. But I made a little model of him, and I had him sitting in that hunting lodge in VR. And through that, I was able to just one last time say hello, and then say goodbye. And then my final way of letting go of that was to just delete that project and wipe it out. And that was really beneficial to me. Through that creative endeavor with that technology, I was able to help overcome some of the feelings that I was experiencing. And your experience may differ if you choose to go down that route. But I want to talk a little bit about, just a bit, about some of those experiences and people that I met, because not everyone is good. I'm sorry to say that. I wish I didn't have to say that, but it's not everyone is good. I've met some really bad people. And we need to know, and I may get a little bit passionate, I promise I'm not yelling at you on purpose, but we need to know, I need you to know that everything that we do imparts upon other people, including things we do to ourselves. You learned earlier about the story of the man from San Francisco who could have been saved if a soul had just smiled. Every action we take imparts upon others. That's super important. And you're going to interact. When you interact with these online communities, you're going to interact with all kinds of people. Some of them good, some of them bad. And those bad people, those trolls, the haters, the naysayers, they're going to do everything they can to try to tear you down, right? You see it, you scroll through social media, you see it. Goodness forbid, you may have even been involved in it. I hope today you get a different perspective. Is that an anime profile picture? Opinion, garbage, in the trash. Is that your persona? Cringe, kill yourself. Have you seen it? I have. Those people are doing everything they can to tear you down, and we don't need to let them win. How do we let them win? We argue with them. They win if we argue with them. We stop being creative. They win if we stop being creative. The only way they lose is if we continue to be ourselves and we express ourselves. Become ungovernable. Don't let those people win. If there's only one thing through my rambling that you take away from me today, I want it to be this, okay? You never surrender being yourself. Thank you.